Hi there, welcome back to the Art of Business English. Andrew Ambrosius for episode 121 here, and today I'm recording live from the school. I've basically got out of the house. As you can see, the new norm, I have to wear a mask about town. But it's really great to be out and about, I must admit. So I just thought I'd celebrate by getting into the office, which is something I haven't done really for the past 2 months. So welcome everybody. I hope you're having a lovely start to spring if you are in the Northern Hemisphere. And those of you in the Southern Hemisphere, I hope you guys are enjoying the falling leaves of autumn. So in this week, I just thought I'd outline what we're going to be doing today. Basically, I'm going to be showing you 10 collocations, and these are going to be verb to noun collocations, which is a continuation from last week where we looked at noun to noun collocations. This week, I'm going to look at verb to nouns, and probably next week I'll be looking at, adjectives or something else. I'm basically putting together like a little mini series on collocations over the next few weeks. So here we are. I've got my little laptop. I've got my little mic. And I'm ready to rock and roll. So let's dive in and let's look at some verb to noun collocations. So basically, as the name would suggest, these collocations are formed using a verb and then we add a noun to them. So the collocations are going to be put together, these verb and nouns are going to be put together to form these collocations and give meaning, which I did explain last week. And if you have been listening to the Art of Business English for a while now, I'm pretty sure you know what collocations are, so I'm not going to dive into too much detail again and explain them. I'm going to look though now at the 10 collocations which you can use for business. So let's have a look. I've got my laptop here. We can dive straight in. So episode 121, 10 verb to noun collocations for business. So the first one on my list is to bear in mind. All right, so I'll give you the meaning, and later in the episode, I'll give you some example sentences and the translation. So to bear in mind basically means to take something into consideration. Okay, so you consider it, you have it present in your mind generally before you decide on something or before you decide or take a decision. Okay, the next one is to break off negotiations. So that means to not continue with the negotiation. So if you break something off, you generally stop it or you put a stop to it. So you can break off a marriage, for example. But we're going to talk about breaking off negotiations because we're focusing today on business English collocations. But to break off is to stop. Or to put a stop to, and obviously negotiations is when you're negotiating a contract or a deal with someone. So to break off a negotiation means to stop or not continue with that negotiation process. All right, the next one on the list is to cease trading. Now, to cease again is to stop. But again, you can't say to break off trading. I mean, that doesn't collocate. That's why they're called collocations. So to cease trading means to no longer operate as a company. So basically the company has closed. So, this is quite interesting when you compare it to break off, because to break off negotiations means to stop the negotiation, whereas to cease trading means to stop trading or to no longer operate as a company. But you can't mix them. You can't say to cease, you could say to cease negotiations, but you can't say to break off trading. That would not collocate. And that's why they're called collocations, because these words go together and they can't be really mixed with other words. Okay, so let's look at the next one. To chair a meeting. I'm sure you've heard this one before. So to chair a meeting is basically to lead it. You are the person responsible for directing the participants in that meeting and controlling and maintaining the order in that meeting. So to chair a meeting is to lead a meeting. All right, the next one. To close a deal. Now, to close a deal means to accept the conditions of a business agreement. And, most people are very happy when they close a deal because generally that comes after a lot of negotiations. So to close a deal means, you reach the end of a long discussion period and you finally agree to go forward with the business arrangement or the business agreement. So that's great. The next one is to come to the point. So to come to the point is really to stipulate the main idea. Like we a lot of the time people are not clear. So we ask them, could you please come to the point so I know exactly what it is that you're talking about, or the main idea that you want me to understand. Okay, so don't be ambiguous, come to the point. Okay. The next one is to dismiss an offer. Now, dismiss an offer is to basically reject a proposal. So if someone offers you something or they propose something to you, you dismiss it, which means you reject it or you decide to not accept it. Okay, so to dismiss an offer. Another one is to draw a conclusion, and it's not related to drawing with a pen or paper. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. To draw a conclusion basically means to reach a decision, or you reach an understanding of something, so you then can make a decision, and that's based on the information. So with the information, you can then draw a conclusion and reach a decision. Okay. Another one with draw, and again, this one is not related to drawing literally with a pen or a pencil. To draw your attention to. So if you want to draw someone's attention to something, it means you want to highlight something and make them, see that this is important, or, this piece of information is very relevant. So we often draw attention to specific details of a proposal or a project or something that we're working on. And it's a really great expression to use in a meeting. Okay, the next one is, and the last one, to lay off staff. And basically that means to fire or sack people from their employment, which is, not always a nice thing. Unfortunately, many people have been laid off as a result of the coronavirus. So to lay off staff means that you have to fire people or sack them, send them to the unemployment line. So those are my 10 collocations and their meaning. And now in the second part of the episode, what we're going to do is we're going to look at some example sentences and the translation in Spanish for you. So let's dive into that. So the first one, bear in mind that the authors of these books also have agendas. So this basically means tener en cuenta in Spanish. So bear in mind that the authors of these books also have agendas. So you need to consider that the authors of these books, they also have their own agenda. So be careful what they say. And the next one is, he said he decided almost immediately after the hostile takeover bid to break off negotiations. Okay, so he said he decided almost immediately after the hostile takeover bid to break off negotiations. And the translation would be romper las negociaciones. Okay, so romper las negociaciones in Spanish for you. So that's break off negotiations. The next one is a company can cease trading and still be registered at Companies House. So a company can cease trading and still be registered at Companies House. And again, the translation for that would be cerrar, so to close, no, in Spanish. The next example is, he will also chair a meeting of the International Democratic Union. So he will also chair a meeting of the International Democratic Union. And basically the translation for that is presidir una reunión. So presidir una reunión. I hope my pronunciation is okay in Spanish because I'm not a native speaker, but you understand it. Okay, the next one is, I told her not to come back until she closed a deal. So I told her not to come back until she closed a deal. So that would be lograr cerrar un acuerdo. Okay, so many bosses want their employees to close deals because it means that they are, making business happen and making money for the company. The next one is, John, could you please come to the point so we all understand what you really mean? So that is ir al grano in Spanish. So John, could you please come to the point so we all understand what you really mean? Meaning, could you please highlight or, say the exact thing that you mean so that we understand it. And again, in Spanish, that's ir al grano. Okay, the next example is the manager dismissed his employee's offer of a dinner date. Okay, so that means to descartar una oferta. The manager dismissed his employee's offer of a dinner date, meaning the employer said, or the manager said no to the employee because maybe a dinner date with your manager is not appropriate. Okay, the next one. We have drawn a conclusion that this offer is too good to pass up. So we have drawn a conclusion that this offer is too good to pass up. So the person has decided, after looking at all the information, that the offer that they're being offered or the deal they're being offered is too good to pass up, meaning to pass something up means to not accept it. So they think it's too good, they should accept this offer. And the translation is llegar a una conclusión. Okay, the next example is, I would like to draw your attention to the fact that this company is in dire financial difficulty. So I would like to draw your attention to the fact that this company is in dire financial difficulty. And that basically is llamar la atención in Spanish. So as I said, this is a great way, a great expression for meetings, because I would like to is formal. Draw your attention to the fact, you want to highlight something important. And the company's in dire financial difficulty. Dire means very bad. So, you really want to make your point about that situation. Okay. And the last one is, many companies have been forced to lay off staff as a result of the coronavirus. And, that's despedir people. So in Spanish, so despedir un empleado. So many companies have been forced to lay off staff as a result of the coronavirus, which is very true and very sad. Hopefully things will, bounce back quickly now that things are looking a lot better than they were 2 months ago. So that's an example of layoff. And that is the end of this episode. So my final thoughts. Basically, collocations make you sound much more native. We use them all the time. You need to understand them because native people use them in everyday situations, and they're really easy to learn because you just need to get lists like this. You get them into context, and then you just start to incorporate them into your meetings. Like the example I gave you before, you can put them into your emails, and slowly but surely you start to adopt these expressions. And really able to expand then your vocabulary range, and you can become much more articulate in the way that you describe things to people and the way that you express yourself, which is really the goal when we're trying to be an effective communicator in any environment. So those are my 10 verb to noun collocations for you today. As always, I encourage you to grab a copy of my ebook entitled 500 Business English Collocations for Everyday Use. It's a fantastic resource full of collocations and all the different types of collocations divided into their categories. And of course, I give you the free pronunciation download in MP3 format, which comes bundled with that ebook. Well, that's it then, my friends. I hope you're all enjoying this lovely weather. I'm starting to really smile. Things are looking a lot happier and more positive than they were a month ago. And, it's great that we're heading into summer, and it's great that we're seeing, I think, us turn the corner here we're in May of 2020. So I hope to see you all next week. I'm going to keep up with this topic of collocations. I'll show you some more next week. So make sure you stay with me. And again, if you need anything, if you've got any questions, don't be shy. Let me know. Happy to provide you with any help. So just drop us a line over email, or you could comment on this on my website below this post if you're over the website, or you can connect with me on social media at Facebook for /facebook.com/ the AOBE, or you can contact me at Instagram. So that's at The Art of Business English. So that's it from me, everyone. Thanks again. A pleasure as always. Take care and bye for now.